In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to share with you 10 years of pro songwriting advice. The exact things that will give you the best chance of writing a great song every time you sit down to write. Now, I've personally worked with the teams of Beyonce, Sam Smith, One Direction. I've worked with labels like Universal and Island, and I've personally written to date over 1,000 songs. And along the way, I've learned a lot about songwriting. So my goal in this video is simple: to break down exactly what you need to be doing to write great songs consistently, without wasting years on trial and error and making the same mistakes that I did. Hey, Danny here from Songwriters International. If you're new to the channel, we help songwriters develop their craft by sharing tips, tricks and techniques to get them writing their best possible songs. So we're going to be diving into the 7 things that I've learned in my songwriting career that will get you making leaps forwards. So let's dive straight into this. Each song you write is a journey for the listener. Just like when you get in a car and you drive from one place to another, there are no two places that are the same. Everything you see is continually changing. And this needs to be happening in your songs. Let's say, for example, we are writing a song about traveling the world. Verse 1 is talking about leaving home. Then later on in the song, verse 2, if we are staying in the same place and we're not evolving the song and we're not actually contrasting that in terms of its story, then we don't have a song that is evolving. We don't have a journey in the lyric. And just like the lyrics in your song and the story is designed to evolve, so is your melody. Your melody should not be the same in 2 different sections. And my biggest tip for this is to take a listen to the different parts of your song and how they transition. Go into verse 1, listen to how it transitions into the chorus. Are your 2 melodies different, or do they sound the same? And this is the biggest problem that I see, and the biggest mistake that I made personally is that my lyrics, my story were not evolving, they were not a journey, they were saying the same things in different sections of the song, or the melody did not have any contrast. And then unfortunately what happens, this increases the chance of songs being skipped, paused, or unfortunately not listened to. Number 2 is not getting pro song feedback on your music. And I hate to break the news, friends and family do not count. Now, if you're relying on yourself to solve your own songwriting problems when you don't know where they are, that's going to be a huge mistake because you cannot isolate the issue. I had this exact moment myself where I was second guessing what it was that my songs were missing. Were my lyrics not strong enough? Were my melodies? Was it my rhymes? Was it my structures of my songs? So I went ahead and I got a pro mentor called Paul, who had done 10 million record sales and had achieved everything I could have wished for and more. And I started to send him my songs, and you can see here just how in-depth that feedback is. You can see how he's ripping apart pieces of my song, section by section, piece by piece, and telling me that my melody in this section is not necessarily strong enough, sharing with me lyrical ideas, sharing with me how my delivery of the vocal could be much stronger. And from that moment on, I literally saved myself years of hard work, years of trial and error, years of mistakes, and years of not understanding what was actually missing with my songs. And everything started to make sense. I could sit with my song and straight away start to isolate what the problems were based on having a pro mentor and a pro songwriter actually go through those songs with a second eye and actually tell me what it was that was missing. Number 3 is letting writer's block stop you and allowing that to be the reason that you never push forwards and have half-written songs or songs that never reach their true potential. Now, to break a big misconception around writer's block, all writer's block fundamentally is a part of the song where we don't know what we're trying to say. The easiest way to overcome writer's block is to simply sit down with your song and look at the section that you're getting stuck with, whether that's verse 1, chorus, verse 2, and just ask yourself, what am I trying to say in this section? And then go ahead and simply say it. Whatever comes from your mouth at that very moment where you ask yourself that question, put it down. Now, of course, it might not be the final version, but that can be tweaked later. But rather than letting that particular line hold you up for 20, 30, 60 minutes, or even longer, days or months, go ahead, keep the momentum going. Don't get too hung up, because the minute that you let it keep you stuck is the moment where that song becomes 10 times harder to finish. So writer's block should never be something that is holding you up for a long period of time and can be solved with a very simple question. What am I trying to say? Number 4 is not collaborating with other songwriters. The backbone to a successful song 9 times out of 10 is that it's been written by more than one person. And for this to really hit home, I've got 3 songs that I want to share with you, and you'll see what the common pattern is. So let's take a look at the most successful song at this moment in time as I record this video, which is a song by Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, and it's called Die With A Smile. Now you can see here the amount of songwriters on this song is 5. Not a solo songwriter, not one person on their own. There's 5 songwriters that have been in the room to collaborate and come together to write this great track. Let's look at the second song by the Beatles. This is their most successful song, which is She Loves You. This sold the most records. You can see the common pattern here again. It was written by more than one songwriter. In this case, it was Paul McCartney and John Lennon, a great songwriting duo. And they wrote this song and it went on to be incredibly successful. And then the final example here is the song by Whitney Houston, I Wanna Dance With Somebody. This song was written by 2 songwriters. Now I could go on and list so many more songs for you, but you get the pattern. All of these songs have one thing in common, and it's that there's more than one songwriter in the room at the time of writing these tracks. And success leaves clues, and we should follow the clues. And that is that collaboration is the backbone to all of these successful songs. And songwriting the best of time can be quite a lonely place. So the fact that you've got someone else to bounce off, someone who actually shares the same interest, only increases the chance of a better song out the other side. Number 5 is forcing rhymes, or as I will also say, overusing perfect rhyme. Now, perfect rhyme is something like hat, cat, fat, sat. They are 100% perfect rhymes, and they are very commonly used in songwriting. And they can be great, but unfortunately, a lot of the time they're overused. So let me share with you an example. Now, we've got a set of lyrics here. This is what I'm going to suggest you not to do. If you read through the lyrics with me, it goes, I've never felt this way before. When I came and knocked on your door, my heart started racing, I fell to the floor. So you can tell the perfect rhymes here are before, door, and floor. And the issue is here, number 1, they all fall at the same place. They fall at the end of the line. And it becomes very clear to the listener what the songwriter is going to start doing. They can pick this pattern off from a mile away. And this is only going to decrease the chances of the listener actually listening. Because as soon as they can tell where that pattern is going, they already preempt, which ultimately starts to sell the song before the listener even has had chance to go further along. Now, there is a time and a place for perfect rhyme, and it has been used many times to great success. But what I don't suggest is that you just rely on perfect rhyme and that you fall it at the end of the verse lines or the chorus lines, and it is just the constant same cycle that you're continuing to use. Number 6 is write from a place of truth. You know your truth far more than any manufactured song that you try to write. And this comes from personal experience. Many a time I've had an opportunity, a brief, a publisher, a manager come through with a song to a set brief, and it has to be manufactured. And at that time, when you've got to try and force it and you can't be so authentic with the song, those songs tend not to be as successful as the ones that you are just raw with, you are genuinely honest with, and you write from a place of truth that you can connect with. And that's simply because you know how it feels. You've experienced what it is you're talking about. You can talk about the taste, the pain, the feelings in your body, the experience of what you've seen. You are quite literally just telling your story, but with lyrics and melody and music. And the really powerful thing is when you are honest and raw with a song and you write from a place of truth, something beautiful happens, and it's that you just don't have to think too much. You don't have to try and manufacture some story out of your head that you're trying to put yourself in the position of. So where you can, draw on the experiences. When something happens, write it down. Note it in your phone or your laptop or on a piece of paper, wherever it may be, your song bank, and then go ahead, and when you need it for a rainy day, when you're stuck for your ideas, you can draw on those and go ahead and write. Number 7, repetition is the key to remembrance. You cannot drive a great hook home if it is not repeated. Now, you want a minimum of 3 repeats of a chorus or a hook in your song, upwards to around 6. If you want your songs to be those stadium singing tracks that people absolutely love, that people crave and people hook onto, then the way that we do that is through the chorus. The chorus is going to be the golden nugget, and that's where we need to repeat, and don't be afraid to go ahead and repeat instead of writing a verse 4 or a bridge. And I can say from experience, repeating a hook is never a bad idea. And I did tell you there was going to be 7 things, but I'm going to share with you a bonus 8. And this is something, looking back, I wish I started to do a lot earlier. And this is what I call songwriter mode. Now, songwriter mode, the concept is fairly simplistic. When we're not writing a song, when we are having a conversation with somebody, when we're scrolling through our phone, when we're on YouTube, when we are watching the news, we should be subconsciously looking out for things that are being said, things that we are reading, that we can draw from, that we can use later on for a song. And we just read or we hear something and we think, that could be an absolute great song. And that's where we can write something unique and something different. And then we can draw from our place of truth and we can look to actually craft something that is powerful. I give you an example here. I was watching the news a few months back, and someone being interviewed said the following statement: "Behind the mask, the truth will become clear." And that was just like a light bulb straight away to me. I was like, I love that phrase. How can I use that in a song? How could I build something around this? What could it be about? And that's what provoked me to go ahead and actually write a song around that. And now that you have this, how do I actually write a song? How do I sit down step by step and methodically write a song that is pitched to artists, that is monetized, that is released, that has thousands upon thousands of plays? Because all of those pieces individually come together to be used in a process to songwriting. And I want for you to be writing your best possible songs. So that's why I've done a video on how I write a song, the complete process, A to Z, how I start the idea, how I build out from it, how I write my melody, my lyrics, my structure, my rhymes, everything that goes into the songwriting process to allow me to write a great song out the end. So if you want to follow that process of pro songwriting, then I've got a video for you. As I mentioned, it will be around here somewhere that you can click. You can go ahead and go and have that so that you can go ahead and write great songs consistently with a clear, defined step-by-step process. So go ahead, hit that video somewhere around here, and I will see you over there. And I cannot wait to share with you my songwriting process